Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go. Hello, welcome once again to yet another episode of Waywut. I'm Darrell. I'll be taking the lead on this episode today. And here I am with the guy who built his house on a pet cemetery and has been haunted by the ghost of a chihuahua, 3 hamsters, and a beta fish. Jason.
That beta fish is a scary mofo. Let me tell
now
you
they're
that.
fighters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll jack you up. I imagine.
I was just gonna say I do have a pet cemetery on the side of my house right now.
Yeah, I know. You got your lizard there, and you various other hamsters and critters.
Yeah, we got a bird, a hamster. The lizard was at my parents' house. Godzilla. God rest his soul.
Well, I was sitting there just whenever it dawned on me while I was doing this that, because I know beta fish are fighting fish, and then you got chihuahuas, which are vicious. So could you just imagine a ghost beta fish and a ghost chihuahua going after each other? Just be awesome.
Be relentless. I didn't get any sleep.
Yeah. Godzilla and King Kong? Fuck that. Give me beta fish versus chihuahua.
Oh, chihuahuas, they're so ferocious.
Mean. They are mean.
Yeah, they are.
Well, I'm going to start today with a ghost rant. I know Halloween had already came and gone and whatever, but I don't care. I like scary stuff.
There's ghosts all the time.
I'd like to start with a question, though. Why are ghosts so damn stuck up? I've been to quite a few places that are said to be haunted. I've gone to the Goatman Bridge at night. I've been to the Whaley House in San Diego. I have stayed at the Emily Morgan in San Antonio. I stayed on the Queen Mary in Long Beach. I stayed at the Grand Jerome Hotel in Jerome, Arizona. All these super haunted places, and I have never seen a damn ghost. I want to see something.
Maybe you're trying too hard.
No, don't say that. That's kind of like whenever a guy can't get a girlfriend. It's like, cause you want one right now. That's just stupid. I don't take that.
Maybe because you really want to see it and they know you do, so they're not showing themselves.
You just said the same thing except with different words.
I'm just practicing my cross-examination.
You failed. You suck. All right. I'm gonna take a moment to tell the story of my one supernatural experience.
Okay.
So my cousin. He lived with my grandparents, and him and I were really close growing up. And so I used to stay, at my grandparents a whole lot, and for 18 years, nothing ever happened to me. And this is despite other people in my family having various experiences. But whenever I was 18 years old, I was staying there and just hanging out with my cousin. And then towards the end of the night, he said he was going to go to the garage and smoke weed. I did not want to partake. It's not my thing. It's like a knockout gas on me. So I'm just chilling out on his bed, and I'll admit I started falling asleep. But I suddenly woke up because the bed was shaking. Like the bed was just shaking. And I look up and I look around and I'm just, I'm like, tell my cousin, just, dude, knock it off. And then it stopped. And then I waited for him to, pop up laughing or whatever. But he didn't. A couple minutes later, he comes back into the room. Yeah, I was there all by myself. Me and the ghost, I guess, that like to just shake the bed, be like, "Hey, dude!"
Like shaking the frame of it. Like
I mean, the bed was
headboard.
It was shaking. The whole bed was just shaking. It was
You
just
put a
shaking.
quarter in the machine and let it go.
It wasn't that kind of bed.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really weird. That kind of made me realize, what had happened, and I was kind of like, huh. And then that was it, went back to hang out with my cousin. It's just like, because wasn't like I got stabbed or, like scratch marks or something going, get out or nothing like that. Um, that was the first and only time I've ever experienced anything even remotely ghostly. It didn't freak me out, because nobody in that house ever had anything like, attack them or anything. That's well, not count my mom who had like sleep paralysis in that house once and saw a scary old lady that started coming towards her and she, started screaming in the middle of the night. But
oh
it could have
man.
been sleep paralysis. I don't know. All right. Well, the long and short of it is I want to believe in ghosts. I really do. I'm open to it. I'm not saying I'm a non-believer, but I'm just, kind of this one of those people. It's like I don't know. I mean,
What
I
many
kind of know
stories there
the
are? Yeah.
shaky bed. That was enough for me to say, okay, it's there. But I really want to like see one. And so whenever my family and I, when we go on our trips that we tend to go on, uh, we try to target like haunted hotels and haunted locations. It's fun, and the kids
It
love
is.
it. Yeah, kids love it, and I mean, at least I love watching them freak out over every little thing. The door opens too fast or something, it trips them out. There's when we were staying on the Queen Mary, while we were having dinner, I started talking to a waitress that wasn't there. We were all just kind of sitting there. I was like, "No, I don't need any water right now, thank you, though." And then kind of like, and I'm just like, yeah, "No, I said I'm fine." And then we kept,
To mess with them.
yeah.
We forgot about your old place of employment.
What? Oh, trail dust.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
never
was
had
said to
anything
be
happen
haunted.
there. I
Something
never.
happened to me once.
Oh, well, do tell.
Well, we know we have upstairs on Trail Dust. How it had the it went all the way around the banisters to look on the floors below.
Yeah,
I was up there by myself, lighting all the lanterns with a yellow lighter. I started to the closest on the stairs. I started lighting the lanterns. Of course, the damn thing wouldn't work. So I take the lighter and I throw it. I'm like, tell with a stupid lighter, it don't work. I'm getting rid of it. So I throw it on the ground. So I pull out the package of matches we have from Trail Dust in my pocket and start lighting the match one by one, going to each lantern, working my way around. When I finally make it back all the way around this corner to where I started, that yellow lighter was sitting on top of the lantern, right on top of it, just sitting there. Nobody came up there. I have no freaking clue how it got on that lantern because I tossed it across the room. And yet, when I came back around, there it was sitting on top of the lantern. Like, you forgot something.
while it was lit.
Yeah, I've already been there. Yeah.
No, I mean, oh wow. So I mean, because I know we used to like burn stuff with the lanterns that were lit there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky that thing didn't explode or melt.
Yeah. I mean, you know how big the upstairs were. It wasn't
Yeah,
that didn't take me that long, but there it was right there when I was
that's
done.
weird.
Very weird.
Very weird.
I have no idea how it happened.
Well, the fact that I haven't, what I'm. It's cool that we get those weird things like that, but I mean, I want to see one, and frankly, I'm disappointed that I haven't actually just laid eyes on one. So, if there's any dead people listening, if you see me, just pop up, say hi. You
Slide into
know,
my DMs.
yeah, it's just common courtesy. I mean, you don't have to tickle my taint or anything unless you just really want to.
I'm not saying
Just
no.
yeah, just wave hello or like throw something across the room. It's not too much to ask for.
Like Dan Aykroyd on Ghostbusters when he's dreaming about that ghost.
Well, I don't want the ghostly blowjob. I'm fine. Well, this will lead us to today's episode. Since I haven't, I've only had my one little experience, I'm going to tell the tale of an interesting haunting in Texas. Ooh. Crosby, Texas is a town that was founded in Harris County in 1823 near the San Jacinto River. And for you California listeners, San Jacinto is what we call San Jacinto here. So, yeah, I saw that in California. I was like, oh, San Jacinto. They're like, it's San Jacinto. Oh, okay, that's weird.
So
I mean,
sorry.
it's so funny because they're pronouncing it wrong, we're pronouncing it wrong. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yeah,
mean, we have both have our own ways of mispronouncing it.
yeah. Show somebody Bear County, they're gonna mispronounce it big time.
Oh yeah. Well, in Crosby, there is a residential subdivision called Newport that began being developed in 1972. Sam and Judith Haney bought bought a home there in the early 80s. Being in Texas and being close to the muggy swamp ass part of Texas known as Houston, yeah, the Haneys decided to dig a pool in their backyard. Now, just like in a horror movie, an old man shows up at their front door because he saw them digging in their backyard. And scary horror movie old man says, "Hey, there's some graves in your backyard." And even kind of like marked a spot, like, saying, "Hey, there's like dead people like right around in here. So be careful what, how you're digging around." So also just like in a horror movie, Sam Haney decided to dig up that particular spot to see if what the old man said was true.
Of course, duh.
Yeah, of course. Somebody's like, "Hey, there's a dead body there." And you're like, "Well, I got to see this."
Yeah, I don't believe you at all.
Yeah. Then once he hit that pine box, he figured out it was very, very true. He's like, "Oh." So immediately he did what he was supposed to do. He didn't do like, too bad of a horror movie thing where it's like, "Oh man, let's investigate all this ourselves." No, he called the sheriff and they brought a coroner to conduct an official exhumation. They found two pine box coffins with bodies in them. The skeletons in the boxes were so brittle that most of the bones had already turned to dust. Sam and Judith wanted to do the right thing and found out whose bodies they dug up. In their search, they found an old gravedigger named Jasper Norton. I really do feel like these people were trying to hit like every checkbox on the horror movie checklist. Just like, okay, we need to find this out. Why don't we go talk to the old gravedigger? Old
Yeah.
gravedigger Jasper, so. All right, well, Jasper the gravedigger went on to let them know that their housing development was built on top of an unregistered cemetery. Black Hope was a cemetery where former slaves were buried until 1939. Because the people back then were like, hey, we can't have like black and white people buried in the same place together because, we're stupid. And then, they're like, okay, well, fine, we'll get our black cemetery. And they're like, well, that requires a permit. And they're like, yeah, I don't need a permit to dig a hole in the ground. So they had an unregistered cemetery. Jasper estimated there are around 60 people buried in that area.
Dang.
The bodies in particular on these that they dug up belonged to Betty and Charlie Thomas. Both had died in the 1930s. For some reason that I can't fathom, because I'm a person with sense, I guess, I don't know, they allowed the bodies to be reburied in their backyard.
What? No way.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Ah,
They're
just put
like,
them back there. Just put them back.
yeah,
They're
it'll
fine.
be fine. Just go ahead and put those two corpses back
What
there.
can possibly go wrong?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like seriously. Whenever I was doing the research on this, it's like watching a scary movie. I'm like, no, don't do that. No. I mean,
Man.
I'm certain they could have found like a church or some sort of charity group that would have been happy to help them fundraise or donate money to have
Yeah.
that couple buried in a cemetery that didn't have people living on it.
Yeah, just think out of the respect factor. You're
Yeah,
gonna
I don't
plant.
understand it.
You gonna plant bushes over them now? You have a nice little flower bed, or what
I
are you
mean, yeah, it's like, oh, that's where the dog loves to poop. It's like whatever.
gonna?
So,
Oh man.
like in every horror movie, they ended up regretting that decision because that's whenever the weird, scary stuff started happening. The first thing they claimed to have happened was a clock in their bedroom started shooting out sparks and glowing blue while it was unplugged.
Oh
Those ghosts that I talked to earlier, if you're listening, that's not the kind of hello I want from you.
no,
So,
something across
it's,
the TV be cool.
I mean, I want something that looks like a person, because I hate whenever it's all like, look, it looked like that smoky stuff
That
that had to be
orb.
that orb, yeah.
Oh.
It's like, ugh. All right, well then on another night that they claim to have, be on Betty Thomas's birthday, so the lady that was buried in their backyard. Judith was home alone when she heard their sliding door open and heard what she, thought was her husband say, "What you doing?" She got up and she, checked, looked for him. Sliding door was locked and no one was there. Woo!
Did she say it like Joey from Friends?
No, I didn't say how you doing. He said, "What you doing?"
Oh.
Um, now it didn't stop there though, because the following morning, when she got up, she was missing a pair of shoes. Sam and Judith looked all over and could not find them until they went outside and they found them on the grave site.
Oh.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Betty. Here's some used shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even if you and your wife are dead, you're still going to get in a fight over a gift like that. You give me some other bitch's shoes. What's wrong with you? Sitting there smacking them around, stretching them out like in Beetlejuice or whatever. Well, this is the point where Judith said that she felt that things were happen that the things that were happening had something to do with them disturbing the graves and the spirits weren't happy. Well, no shit, Judith.
You really think so?
Wait a minute. You don't think this has to do with like the graves or anything, do you? Oh.
You know how you went on that rant a few episodes ago about victims and how you don't feel sorry for some of them?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I agree because I mean, you dig up these people that are just laying there being dead, and instead of putting them into a cemetery like a half decent person, you bury them in your backyard like you would a hamster.
yeah. After
Just
you were told not to dig them up.
yeah, pretty much. Well, whatever they stirred up, it was not limited to them. Yeah. About a dozen unnamed neighbors reported things such as their lights, TVs, and water faucets turning off and on all by themselves. Which, it's just wasteful. They're like, these ghosts saying, well, fuck with your utility bills. Uh, there were also reports of scary sounds and people seeing ghosts. Now, those are the ones I'm jealous of. I want to see one. Ben and Gene Williams were neighbors of the Haneys that actually came forward, because all the other ones were unnamed, but these ones came forward with their ghostly experiences. Any house plants they purchased would die regardless of their efforts. Which I was ecstatic to hear about this because nearly every plant that I've ever planted died. And all these years, I thought I just sucked at this, but it's just like ghosts were killing all the plants I planted. It's like, oh, whew, yeah, I feel
Yeah.
better now. Huh.
Just sucking the life right out of them.
Yeah, it's like, well, at least I fed some ghosts. They're like, I need to decorate my ghost house with this, so I need this plant to die so I can take the actual ghost of the plant with me. Aside from killing their plants, the ghost decided to be creepier by making a coffin-shaped sinkhole that would appear in their yard.
Oh,
Now, I don't know if this means a rectangular sinkhole in their yard or if it's like that weird, like, kind of, what is it? That weird hexagon
uh huh.
that like Dracula would sleep in the
It
on
gets bigger around
cartoon.
the shoulder area.
Yeah, it didn't say that. It just said coffin shaped sinkhole. So, I mean, it could just be a rectangular. So they would fill it in only for it to reappear a few days later.
Weird.
They also experienced the regular ghost things like nasty smells, whispers from nowhere, and strange shadows going across their walls. That's the kind of lame ghost shit I don't want. I don't want like shadows just going across the wall because I
That
don't
could
care.
be explained. That could be explained by a multitude of things.
And I mean, seriously, if I have a ghost behind me just saying, I'm here with you, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm schizophrenic. You know, it's just it's not going to be the same. I want one to like just show up and like wave at me and then fly
Yeah.
through a wall. Be at the gym and it like be like it'll be like some fat ghost of a man and it waves at me as it goes into the women's locker room. Been some pervert ghost. I'll be like, oh, good luck, pervert ghost. So, Ben and Jean Williams, the neighbors, they had a granddaughter that backed up all of their claims after she spent part of the summer with them. She claimed that regardless of the Houston heat, which is horrible,
Yeah.
disgusting,
Swampy.
hate it, she would still come across these strange spots that would be incredibly cold. And every ghost hunter I've seen on YouTube says that's a sign. So I mean, if the experts say so, they're like, "Oh, you feel that? It's so cold right here. I said something." Whatever.
All their meters and shit they got going on.
Yep. She'd also hear the toilets flushing when no one was in the bathroom. Now that one would kind of trip me out because I would totally, if I hear a toilet flush and I'm in the house by myself, I'm gonna end up with a gun in my hand. It's just gonna be like, you know, trying to be
Who
John
dares
Wick or
break into
something.
my house and use my toilet?
I will shoot you on my shitter.
Yeah, that would kind of freak me out because toilets just don't. They're not the automatic flushers at home. You have
No,
to
they
put
are
some
not.
effort into them. All the time you
Well,
got to jiggle the handle or something to get them to flush.
yeah, my guest bathroom, you have to hold it down. All right. Well, this leads us to the question that everyone comes to in a situation like this. Why didn't these people move away? The Haneys, the ones that, dug up the couple, they wanted to do just that. But as any homeowner that makes normal people money knows, you just can't up and walk away from a house. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So instead of living out of their car or under a bridge, they decided to take their shot with the legal system and sued the builders of their house.
Huh?
They sued the builder for breach of contract, alleged title defects, negligence, fraud, breach of express warranty, breach of implied warranty of merchantability, and violations of the Deceptive Trade Practices Consumer Protection Act. Being that
Jesus, that was
being
a
that they
mouthful.
yeah, being that they did build their neighborhood on a cemetery, and that's not disclosed beforehand, seems like they have pretty good case.
So they're the only owners of the house. You said that they're
The
the
whole neighborhood was, but
okay.
the whole neighborhood was built over that.
Okay.
I'll get to a little bit more on that here in a bit. So during their jury trial, it came out that during construction, an unnamed resident of the town told the superintendent of the construction site that that land had been a cemetery. The superintendent was led to an area that had a short fence and a wooden cross. He claimed that he didn't know if it was a grave for a dog or that if anything would be buried there. So he did the reasonable thing. He told his guy on a tractor to take it all out. They then plowed over all of it and hauled off all the like crosses and stuff like that to get tossed in the dump.
So there was more than one cross. There was several with a
There
fence
is
barrier.
60 there were 60 people buried there. So yes, there was more than one. I mean, they didn't have like a bunch of solid tombstones all over the place. I mean, by then it was already what 40 years but since anybody been buried there. So,
Oh
yeah,
man,
he just plowed through all of it. And I want to know, why weren't these guys the ones being haunted? I mean, ghosts, get your shit together and do your research before you start messing with people.
yeah.
I mean,
Know who
I
to
mean,
blame.
yeah, I mean that dude was an asshole. He's just like, well, it could be dogs buried there. You know, I've got a schedule to keep and people to. No,
Yeah,
just
this
plowed
looks like a
over.
pet cemetery with all these grave markers.
Yeah. Well, the jury heard the argument and ruled in favor of the Haneys and awarded them $142,000. It's a pretty reasonable sum.
They'll probably pay off their house.
Well, remember this is early '80s.
Oh, they could probably
They
pay
didn't
off
pay
two or
it
three
off.
houses. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the story doesn't end there because it was appealed by the builder to a higher court where where it'd be a bench trial instead of a jury trial. We all know how I feel about how politicians don't work for people. Uh, this judgment by this judge supports that opinion of mine. Uh, the judge reversed the decision and rendered a judgment that the Haneys needed to pay $50,000 in court costs. You built my house on a cemetery. I mean, throw all the ghost shit out. Throw all the ghost shit out. I'd go to dig a pool. I dig up a corpse because you built my house on a cemetery, and you're gonna say that I don't have any legal recourse there? Eat my ass.
No shit. What was the
Well,
reason of the appeal, or meant the reversal?
judge said so. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
No, I could look this shit up.
Well,
What's
hold on. I've
what?
got more to talk about on this. I'm not done talking about the court case.
Okay, I'm sorry. I could look this stuff up.
All right. Well, stop jerking off to the legal ease and listen to the story.
I'm sorry.
It's so good. I I went. It went on up to the Supreme Court of Texas. They reversed the judgment of the appeals court,
Okay.
but then they sent it right back to that appeals court.
Yeah.
The appeal court reviewed the Supreme Court opinion, said noted, and still went forward their previous ruling. Which I don't get how that happens. I don't know. Maybe I didn't understand it all. I don't understand legal documents, and I know they're designed that way so that regular people like me get screwed over. And you can really tell because when it comes to like fraud and negligence allegations, the ruling states that the builder never falsified anything. They plowed over the cemetery so they were never sure it was there, so they couldn't lie about it.
They sure didn't check.
I mean, yeah, I mean, at that point, it's
Plausible
negligent.
deniability. Yeah,
I
but
mean,
still.
and see, that would get rid of the fraud, but I mean, should still leave the negligence because what they did was still
Absolutely.
negligent.
Absolutely.
It's infuriating. Well, the Haneys loss had to file for bankruptcy because regular people, and you got to get dicked over by the big businesses, and no one would buy their house, so they eventually lost that too.
Damn.
Yeah, it's just a bummer.
Back to another bank who don't need it.
Yep. And that's where their part in this story ends. Back to the Williams. The other couple I was talking about, the ones that didn't dig up people, but they were still having ghost issues. The Williams at the same time were also exploring legal recourse, but because they hadn't dug up a body in their yard, they were told they had nothing to sue for. Which I've been like, give me a shovel. In which, of course, that's what Jean Williams said too. She got irritated with that news and decided, they wanted a body, she'd dig one up. So she goes out in her yard, she starts digging, but then she starts getting sick. Like really sick. Like she can't, like throwing up and just sick. So she goes inside. Her daughter attempted to take over the digging operation, but then she got sick too. She got so sick they had to call the paramedics. They struggled to keep her awake as they waited for help. She ended up suffering a massive heart attack and died 2 days later. I could not find her obituary, but one source I did find said that she was only 30 years old.
The mom or the daughter?
The daughter. The daughter died.
From a massive heart attack at 30 years old.
After getting sick after trying to dig up a body out of their yard. Yep. Well, that was the last straw for the Williams couple. They felt they were to blame for their daughter's death, and they moved away. They're just like, you know what? I can't live with this. It sucks. They moved away. After 7 years, they wrote a book about their experience in Crosby that was eventually made into a made for TV movie called The Legacy of Hilltop Drive, which if the movie, if I remember right, takes it out of Texas completely and like puts it in California or something. It's got Patty Duke in it, but I've never seen it. In 2024, that little area in Crosby, Texas, it's just another neighborhood where weird stuff happens sometimes. There's a man that lives in a different house from the Williams and the Haneys that he says he gets the recurring coffin sinkholes. He says that he's filled up that hole 3 times and it popped up. Which I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's rectangular or what, but I mean seriously, what is a coffin shape? Never mind.
I bet it's
So
just a rectangle, just
it
where it
has to be.
sinks. Yeah.
I mean, because like anytime somebody is buried, the ground does settle. And back then, whenever they didn't use like the super duper coffins that they do now, they could collapse over time, and that would just and it would
Yeah.
actually cause it to sink. But I mean, it's kind of weird that they keep refilling it. Some say that their families that come to visit them can't sleep at their house. They're just like, oh my God, I freak out, can't sleep there. Some say odd things happen. Some say nothing happens. But no one that lives there seems to be afraid, which is cool. It's like, all right, maybe they all learn to get along with their ghosts. Now, like all horror movies, this is a morality tale. The moral of this story is if you dig up dead bodies on accident, then bury them somewhere nice with, I don't know, a real funeral.
Yes. Show them the respect they would need.
I wouldn't think that this would need to be said, but apparently it does. So there you go. I mean, I could deal with, like faucets turning off and on, lights turning off and on, weird noises, shadows. But if it's going to cost me 50 grand in court costs, I'll do whatever funeral's necessary just to make the ghost shut up so that I ain't got to like lose a lawsuit to some builder.
I do have one question. I don't know if you have the answer to, but has any family members potentially come forward that thinking that their family could be buried out there and want their members exhumed?
Not that I saw. Everything was all about ghosts.
Hmm. You would think that somebody would like if they know there's
I
possibly
mean,
60 bodies out
look,
there.
I know, but your great grandpa was buried in somebody's backyard, would you give a shit?
I guess it depends. Yeah,
I mean, do you know? I mean, I'm asking you. If one of your great grandfathers that you never met was buried in somebody's backyard, would you give a shit?
probably not. No,
Yeah. Would you? I was gonna say, would you give a shit enough to dig up their body, repair that person's yard, pay for a funeral, a cemetery plot, pay for someone to dig that hole, pay for a tombstone, pay for a new box, pay for cremation, any of that stuff? Would
no,
you give that much of a shit?
no, probably
All right
not.
then.
But
All
some
right.
people have a cause and a axe to grind. They may want to go after it.
I mean, look, I care about the family I know and that I've met, at least most of them. So, yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I ain't got time to spare worrying about people that were dead before I was born. All right.
All right.
Well,
So you said this happened in 1980 something?
yeah, it's
Yep,
the you can look up Crosby, Texas, Black Hope Cemetery. You can maybe you can dig up your legal documents and you can touch yourself while you read them.
I will. I got very good topping with my right hand only.
Good.
What was the first names of the Haneys?
Oh, they were. too many names. Sam and Judith.
Sam and Judith. All right. What was the housing edition's name?
Goddamn, dude.
I'm sorry.
You can just watch the episode when it comes out. Let's see. The subdivision was called Newport, and it began being developed in 1972.
Like the smokes.
Yeah. Do I need to give you like anybody's social security number, or is there anything else that you need?
No. I'm pretty sure I can find what I need to find.
You done making me look like I don't do my research?
No, you did your research. That's why I'm asking you the questions.
All right.
Did they make this a historical site?
No, it's still a neighborhood.
Huh.
It's still a neighborhood. There's still dead bodies under people's driveways and backyards.
Is it a tourist attraction?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, like, seriously, it's kind of like, no, it's not like that because people actually did pop up at those. But I think maybe sometimes you get some weirdos that might show up there, more than likely like YouTubers or like whatever. But I know some reporters have because I've read plenty of stories on it. But I mean, I don't know. I guess you could check if there's an Airbnb there.
Yeah,
they
sure
like
there is.
A shovel.
Huh. Well,
anything else?
Yeah, actually I do. One small question. If you are looking for a dead body and you can't use a metal detector, what do you use to find a body besides cadaver dogs?
Fuck if I know. I never looked for a dead body.
I'm just wondering, how do you find them? That lady was just starting digging in her yard, hoping to find one.
I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't live in a house built on a cemetery. I don't know.
I'm just wondering how that goes about, how they locate them.
And you're terrible at questions. Awful.
Awful. Pretty good questions.
No,
if anybody knows, let us know in the comments.
Jason, if you're going to pick your nose without your fingers, how'd you do that? If you can't use your hand to pick your nose, I don't know. Just as bad a question.
Yeah, well.
All right. Well, if you've actually seen a ghost, comment, tell us about it, because I would love to hear your story. We're pretty responsive to comments most of the time, and we'd look forward to it. I want to know your ghost stories.
Yeah.
Also, thumbs up, like, subscribe, follow, share, tell all your friends about us. Send us your firstborn
bank account.
News.
Yeah.
All right. Well, join us next week after I, see if I can dig up some non-hamster corpses in Jason's backyard to get him a good haunting started. Then maybe he could tell us some things that'll make us say, "Wait, what?" Yeah, get you a ghost.
I got enough people in this house.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for joining us for Wait, What? If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, "Wait, what?"